things have moved forward quickly, with military activity increasing around Europe as tensions continue to build. North Korea has also entered the picture, as their relationship with the US becomes increasingly strained. While no attack has yet broken out, many worry one is imminent. What to consider war is a big business and has been used by the elite cabal for many years to not only take over nations but also control the masses with fear. The cabal is typically always pushing for war, and while it may appear to be a fight between countries, it's not. It's often a collaborative effort between powerful individuals to play out big picture plans by creating conflict at various levels within a country to justify war. I served in all commissioned ranks from a second lieutenant to a major general. And during that time, I spent most of my time being a high-class muscle man for big business, for Wall Street, and for the bankers. In short, I was a racketeer for capitalism. General Smedley Butler, one of the highest-ranking generals in American history. At the moment, everyone is pointing the finger at Trump, which they should given what he has said on TV and the actions the US has taken under his control. An interesting thing to note that has to be shared given the discussion I've had with insiders is, Trump's administration has been receiving cooked intel about what's happening in other areas of the world from members of the cabal. In other words, it has been infiltrated. That being said, who knows if he's receiving the right information or not? We know for certain that a secret government, for lack of a better term, is really calling most of the shots. Not many presidents have had the nerve to oppose these governments, let alone create awareness of them. Eisenhower did it when he warned us about the military-industrial complex. JFK did it when he mentioned that there are those who want to capitalize on nationalism to push topics under the rug, and how national security would be seized upon by those who want to conceal information from the American public. Trump's campaign and his promises were largely against the ruling cabal, and although Trump is not the knight in shining armor with a deep conscious knowing we are all hoping for, he came onto the scene as a non-cabal leader that has the opportunity to start dismantling the way things are done. This of course is part of a much bigger picture shift going on where humanity's consciousness is shifting. John F. Hylan, the mayor of New York City from 1918 to 1925, referenced this secret government, saying that it is the real menace of our republic, and that like a giant octopus it sprawls its slimy legs over our cities, states and nation. He went on to emphasize how the little coterie of powerful international bankers virtually run the United States government for their own selfish purposes, and that they practically control both parties as well as all the newspapers and magazines in this country. Political parties exist to secure responsible government and to execute the will of the people. From these great tasks both of the old parties have turned aside. Instead of instruments to promote the general welfare, they have become the tools of corrupt interests which use them impartially to serve their selfish purposes. Behind the ostensible government sits enthroned an invisible government owing no allegiance and acknowledging no responsibility to the people. To destroy this invisible government, to dissolve the unholy alliance between corrupt business and corrupt politics is the first task of the statesmanship of the day. What does war really show us? It's great to see that more people have become aware of false flag terrorism. In fact, other world leaders are bringing this up with regards to actions the US takes overseas. Putin, the chemical attack in Syria was a false flag and more are being prepared in Syria. But, as mentioned above, war isn't really what we've been made to believe it is. We are, in a sense, coaxed into accepting it. That's exactly what false flag terrorism is all about. The statesman will invent cheap lies, putting the blame upon the nation that is attacked. And every man will be glad of those conscience-soothing falsities, and will diligently study them, and refuse to examine any refutations of them, and thus he will by and by convince himself the war is just, and will thank God for the better sleep he enjoys after this process of grotesque self-deception. A couple of years ago, the Dalai Lama put it perfectly after the terrorist attacks which occurred in Paris, stating we shouldn't simply pray for Paris, but rather, we must recognize we ourselves created this mess, and only we can solve it, not God. He put up a post on his website regarding war and large military establishments, stating that they are the greatest source of violence in our world and they exist solely to kill human beings. He went on to explain how, since armies are legal, we feel that war is acceptable. In general, nobody feels that war is criminal or that accepting it is criminal attitude. In fact, We have been brainwashed. There is currently a shift in consciousness taking place, and instead of seeing war as a marvelous weapon and a great piece of technology that kills living people, we are starting to see that world peace and cooperation are necessary, and that there is truly no reason for us to be so divided, or for our governments to fight each other. The justifications for war are falling by the wayside, and the cabal continues to invent problems to withhold this justification. No matter how malevolent or evil are the many murderous dictators who can currently oppress their nations and cause international problems, it is obvious that they cannot harm others or destroy countless human lives if they don't have a military organization accepted and condoned by society. Some of these soldiers that are used by their corporate/big bank puppet masters are starting to wake up and speak out, shifting consciousness. If you find yourself fearing what is taking place and what is unfolding, explore it. Why is there fear? What is that fear showing you about yourself, your beliefs, what you feel is going on? Do you feel empowered? Do you feel as though you have no control? Asking ourselves these questions helps us to understand ourselves and how we operate. As an individual, we have the power to assist the collective, and feel powerless is a huge part of shifting our consciousness. Fear can serve us to show something about ourselves, but it does not serve us to remain in that state. We cannot create change from that state that is effective and that will lead to a world where we thrive. The change we are looking to create deep down will come from a place of peace. Remember, these events and what unfolds are a reflection of mass consciousness and are providing insight into how humanity is creating and going through as a whole. It also gives us the opportunity to reflect and create the necessary change from within in order to shift our experience, which helps to shift the world. The purpose of this is to help dispel the automatic fear state we go into and instead get us into a place where we can effectively do something from a place of peace as opposed to fear.